Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on Our News, the Ministry of Education launches an investigation into sexual misconduct claims. A man gunned down in Yellow Elder, why police say it's an area of concern. Plus, Atlantis resort employees demand redundancy pay. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, the Ministry of Education is investigating claims of sexual misconduct at a Grand Bahama school. The Education Minister tells our Jillian Gray officials are also looking to strengthen policy to ensure it doesn't happen again.
Whatever evidence is revealed by the investigation, and the investigation will follow whatever evidence, then whomever is found culpable, whomever may be, whether in this jurisdiction or elsewhere, will face the consequences of that violation.
In the wake of a Grand Bahama teacher being charged with indecent assault, Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd is reassuring parents that schools are safe. The Education Minister added that the Ministry of Education has also launched an independent investigation into the sexual misconduct allegations at that Grand Bahama school.
There is an investigation underway by the Ministry of Education in addition to the investigations by the police. And again, that investigation is to inform us, but at the same time to enable us to review our safety protocols and ensure that our children and our students and our parents and educators are in a safe environment.
A music teacher at the Jack Hayward High School was yesterday charged with indecent assault. Lloyd said disciplinary action has been taken against that teacher as well. The focus now, he said, is to ensure no child is again placed in harm's way, adding that parents must be assured that their children are protected.
The public school system of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is very safe and has always been safe. Incidences which violate that environment is obviously of deep regret to the Ministry of Education and to this minister in particular. And every step is taken to, first of all, properly investigate and effectively investigate.
While students of the school told a local news station that complaints to administrators went unanswered for nearly 10 years, the minister said no information was brought to his attention. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
And a man who police believe was shot sometime last night was discovered dead in Yellow Elder Gardens early this morning. Jared Higgs has the details.
A concerned citizen directed police officers to a dirt road just off Graham Road where the body was found, according to police press liaison Audley Peters.
It appears that rigor mortis would have been set already, and so that gives us an approximate time of about 12 hours or so.
Peters said Thursday's murder victim appears to be in his mid-30s. A vehicle was discovered near the man's body, but police are unsure of its possible connection to this incident.
The moment we're not able to confirm whether that vehicle that is owned by the victim himself, that we are going to have to do our investigation to confirm that that vehicle belongs to the victim.
How close was the victim to the car?
From all indications, the victim was about 30 feet from the vehicle when he was found.
Peter says this area is known for criminal activity and bodies have been found here in the past. Now, other area residents say they're also concerned.
You see, they ain't safe around him. Fellas, I'm killing for nothing. See? And they only friends, us only friends, hanging on one another and setting up one another and stuff like that.
The resident, who has lived in the community nearly 40 years, said greater police presence is needed in the area.
They need to put a police station up in there, man. You see? They need a station up in there. They need to police them constantly because the fellas, they'll see when the police them coming through and then when they done pass through. And every night you're hearing all kind of gunshot and stuff like that.
Peters acknowledged that the area is unsafe and warned residents against traversing the track road.
Historically, this area has normally been used for criminal activity. In the past, we've had incidents that would have occurred in the back end. That's why we encourage persons not to travel on track roads or roads that they consider unsafe. And this is an area that we don't suggest that individuals should travel to. If you look at the terrain, anything notorious is liable to happen in an area such as this.
This latest incident follows a number of murders in New Providence recently. Police said a man died in hospital shortly after he was shot on Tuesday night. Reporting for our news, I am Jared Higgs.
Attorney General Carl Bethel firing back at critics who have called the ongoing state of emergency unnecessary. His comments came in the Senate, where he also went head-to-head with opposition Senator Fred Mitchell over civil liberties during the pandemic. Jasmine Brown has that.
The Attorney General was on the defense as he sought to make the case for the extension of the state of emergency to May 23rd.
We will not drop our guard. We cannot drop our guard. We made that error once in July of 2020, and we paid dearly for it.
Senators debated a resolution to extend the state of emergency after it was passed in the House of Assembly on Wednesday night. While that first declaration of emergency was broadly supported, repeated extensions have been opposed, with critics arguing that there are other ways to legislate the necessary measures. Some critics have also claimed the state of emergency has led to the suspension of civil liberties, a claim that Bethel denied. It prompted a shouting match with leader of opposition business in the Senate, Fred Mitchell.
No, I'm not making. And you are, sir. It is not. It is a restriction.
Please take your seat until
it is a restriction.
Senator Bethel is finished.
You know, you do not have the absolute right to go around willy-nilly and infect other people.
I am saying that you have suspended my right to move around the country.
Okay.
No, Madam President, that is a patently false statement, okay? It is a false statement because there is currently no, of course you can, but you have to take a COVID test before you do. And you need, stop talking foolishness, sir.
The Bahamas has been under a state of emergency since March 2020, when the first case of COVID-19 was reported. Bethel said while he understands residents are tired of living under the COVID-19 protocols, it is unlikely that will change until enough people in the Bahamas are vaccinated.
When we reach that level, yes, we will ask the Governor General, please consider whether you think, sir, that it's okay to let the emergency orders go. Because it is his discretion. People like say, the Governor General could say it any day, I ain't signing that no more, I think everything is good.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
It's been quite a cloudy and cool day in the capital today. Greg Thompson is in the weather studio.
Thanks, Christina. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather. Winds are howling outside. We do have that cold front pushed into the central Bahamas, now bringing some very windy conditions. Temperatures are in the low to mid 70s, 73 outside our studios. Partly cloudy skies, windy. Northwest winds at 18 knots. Feels like temperature in the low to mid 70s. That frontal boundary now moving into the central Bahamas, generating some isolated showers with that. Once that frontal boundary pushes south of us, conditions will be clearing and you'll see some cooler temperatures for the next couple of days. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
When our news continues, Atlantis workers demand redundancy pay, plus why the Bahamas saw a recent uptick in COVID cases. That's coming up when our news returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Dozens of Atlantis employees say they've reached their boiling point, gathering at the House of Labor this morning, asking the government to intervene and make redundancy packages available for hurting employees. Giorgio Bain reports.
Dozens of hotel employees hoping to receive their redundancy packages gathered today, stating that they are tired of the broken promises from their employers and the government, and now they want what's owed to them no matter how little it may be. Vice President of the Bahamas General Workers Union and former Atlantis employee Dave Beckford and dozens of Atlantis employees gathered at the House of Labor this morning say that nearly a year into the pandemic, they are in desperate need of their redundancy packages to make ends meet.
They telling you to hold on. Hold on for how long? Hold on to what? Every day you wake up, you don't know what the hell going to happen. You don't know how you're going to feed your family. You don't know how you're going to pay your rent, your mortgage.
Abria Bridgewater has reached out to management in hopes of collecting her redundancy package as she has depleted her savings. Her NIB benefits have come to an end and says she can no longer take the uncertainty.
I have 2 children, one with special needs. So I'm already up to here with waiting on Atlantis. I've already reached out, asked about the redundancy package. I was told in a nutshell, Atlantis isn't moving in that direction. So what am I supposed to do? If national insurance has already decided for me, unemployment stopped at 13 weeks, even though I've been paying national insurance for years.
The pandemic forced Atlantis to close its doors early last year. The resort reopened in December, but some workers who returned to work were furloughed again earlier this month. Leslie Humes has worked for Atlantis for 36 years. He says he has health issues and his medication is getting harder to pay for with no income.
My pills cost $195 a month. One of those pills a month costs $180. How am I supposed to supply that at home with no job and no money? I think it's unfair.
Beckford made this suggestion to the management of Atlantis.
Atlantis, being the second largest employer, should follow suit like Bahama and pay their workers a percentage of their salary who have been furloughed now for almost a year.
Reporting for our News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
In other news, Health Minister Renward Wells confirming in Parliament on Wednesday night that a slight uptick in confirmed COVID-19 cases was the result of 11 crew members of a charter boat testing positive.
There's a little cause for alarm because the number jumped to 21. But I want to let the Bahamian people know that of those 21 positive cases, 11 of those cases are from a yacht. They are crew members on a yacht who've been in the Bahamas for about 3 weeks. They've been cruising the Bahamas. They've been getting tested on a weekly basis. And 11 of those individuals have now come up positive for COVID.
Well, following major service disruptions to Rev television customers, Rev has advised that additional repairs to the network will take place over the next 5 to 7 days between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. Chief Operating Officer John Gomez says 98% of TV channels are back up and running, and maintenance over the next few days will ensure that this does not happen again. Rev customers are advised that maintenance exercises may cause intermittent services during those times.
President of the Funeral Home Association, Kirsch Ferguson, said they've had many people leave bodies at funeral homes for months, waiting for the competent authority to ease restrictions, and the relaxation to 20 is not a big relief.
While we welcome the changes, as incremental as they are, we would like to see more relaxation to a point where families can have their bodies properly funeralized.
Ferguson suggested that the Prime Minister sit down with all parties involved to come to a happy medium. He added that he doesn't see why funerals can't happen in a church, as he feels families will follow protocols.
A funeral is a worship experience, and we wish to see families engage in worship in that way because it's part of the grieving and bereavement process. While we understand the mitigating factors why it's happening, but at the same time I think there could be some more relaxation which will help in the psychological health of our citizens.
But this video presents another side. This Junkanoo rush out allegedly at a funeral on Saturday shows many people without masks marching closely together. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has said that a single case at a large funeral and Junkanoo rush out can set the country back. Now, that funeral with a Junkanoo rush out was the second funeral in a matter of weeks to break the emergency powers orders. Peters said officers did investigate the incident, but no one was arrested.
They went to deal with a matter at a particular event on Nassau Street, and when they arrived at that scene, those persons dispersed, and so they were not able to accost any of the persons to issue the citations.
Peters said large gatherings will not be tolerated, and they plan to fine anyone found breaking the law.
Recently, we've been made aware that pastors are officiating funeral service in contravention of the COVID-19 orders. The order states that funeral service are only allowed at grave sides with a maximum of 20 persons, excluding the officiants. The police will continue to monitor social gatherings, and where we find persons in contravention, the law will be strictly enforced.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jillian Gray.
Still to come, a closer look at Craig Flowers' many adventures, plus Marcellus Hall has all the hoop action. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is our news. Welcome back. He may have achieved great success in the numbers business, but Craig Flowers' first passion was aviation, where he soared to great heights as an accomplished pilot. Fonique Toot has more in tonight's edition of A Closer Look.
You may know him as the numbers man, but before FML Group of Companies became a household name, Captain Craig Flowers traveled the world in a cockpit, becoming the first black pilot for Northeast Airlines in New York, an aviation trainer in Libya, and a pilot for Colonel Gaddafi. The engineering major started off at BEC, but longed to spread his wings, following in the footsteps of his uncle, the late mortician Marcus Bethel,
who sat me in the little Cessna 172 with him to bring back the remains of a person deceased in the family islands and to fly with him. That certainly had been the turning point in my life.
Flowers returned home about 3 years later to work at Bahamas Airways, but growing frustration prompted him to return to the U.S., where he applied for a job in the Middle East and was hired as a trainer.
There was never a job in my life where I could have been held at such high esteem and respected.
During his time there, Flowers formed lifelong relationships with some of the Middle East's most influential people, like Libyan revolutionary and politician Colonel Gaddafi.
We picked up Yasser Arafat will come in. Idi Amin came in from Uganda. He's at Okpa Air Force Base. When you find yourself in the presence of these type of people, or this, for me, I could only imagine what will be said if this little boy from Farm Road is sitting here among these people.
Following 16 years, Flowers eventually moved home to be with his ailing father, who raised the engineer and his two brothers after their mother died when Flowers was just a toddler.
There was always a sense of all of us, my eldest brother Arnold, myself, and my younger brother Cecil, that we owe a lifetime in debt to our father for what he would have done and sacrificed.
He may have left Paris, Rome, and Libya behind, but those cultures heavily influenced the decor in his palatial pad.
For instance, the panel here where you see all of these are hidden doors, and they all close and go out away. But all of these pieces, when I started to put my home together, all of my friends, me sitting in Rome, oh no, don't touch that room, Craig, let me do that, let me do that.
From these European panels, you'd be hard-pressed to find anywhere else to this Russian fireplace and Parisian chandelier. Flowers Ocean Club home is fit for a king.
The persons actually left Rome and came here personally to fit all of these doors. I said, what about price? He says, no, the doors are all closed in different ways. This panel here is significantly rare because it's goat skin.
Oh, wow.
This is from a friend of mine in Africa that has a company in Paris that stretches goat skin and make decorative things. A Russian company in Greece that makes glass utensils. And Ivan said, don't you touch the fireplace and the column. That's for me. You will see this same hard African wood in the ceiling. You'll see it on the tables. You'll see it on the chairs. This is all African mahogany that is extremely hard. The machine to cut it and to tailor it and to do all of it is crazy. That's the chandelier that my girlfriend from Paris made. She says, don't put anything over that square table. I'm going to put something over that. So all of these things are just gifts from people.
And wait until you see his kitchen.
Kitchen is Italian. The fridges are all, every Italian kitchen you go in, you'll see cappuccinos and coffee makers. Everything is a baker, a grill, a bakers and grills. You'll see these all over. The heating pans, you'll see these all over any high-end Italian. The fridges are all built into the wall. This is a flat wall where freezers and coolers.
Did you think that was a fridge? No.
But for the pilot, businessman, and philanthropist, home will always be Farm Road, where he was raised by his single father, determined to be mom and dad for his boys and inspire them to achieve their dream.
My life is being committed to telling my dad thanks.
Reporting for our news, I'm Vonique Tude.
Thanks, Vonique. Well, the Grand Bahama Utility Company announcing the installation of a 3 million gallon reverse osmosis plant, a $5 million investment. Director of Operations Filcher Grant says this is a significant step in GBUC's long-term storm hardening plan, which is now underway. Grand Bahamians have experienced many challenges since Hurricane Dorian ravaged the island in September 2019. Wellfield 6, which serviced 60% of the island, suffered catastrophic damage. The pumping station and Wellfield were inundated with a 20-foot surge of seawater for more than 18 hours. The contract for the construction and commissioning of the facility was awarded to Bahamas Hot Mix. Tonight in sports, 3 of the country's top hoop stars in action yesterday. Marcellus Hall tells us how they did.
Thanks again and welcome to our sports on a Thursday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. As you can tell, Hoops News starting us off for the day as college basketball season in full swing. Kai Jones, Texas Longhorns, they're number 5 in the nation, heading into a game against a tough Oklahoma squad. Let's see exactly how it turned out. Down their head coach and 3 of their players due to COVID-19, Bahamian Kai Jones and the 5th-ranked Texas Longhorns taking on 24th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Texas falling behind early, but they did manage to claw their way back into it, coming from 11 points down to get within 1. Longhorns playing without 2 of their starters and actually had 3 more players foul out before eventually losing 80-79. Jones with a double-double as he played 37 minutes, finished with 15 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Talking about filling out the stat sheet, Longhorns scheduled to play again on Saturday when they go up against the struggling Kentucky Wildcats. Buddy Hield and the Kings taking on the Orlando Magic. Hield getting it going early as he shot lights out in this one, making 7 of his 12 three-point shots, 10 of 17 overall from the field. That led the Kings in scoring with a season-high 29 points. Sacramento gets the win 121-107. Buddy also adding 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Kings' next game tomorrow night versus the Toronto Raptors. DeAndre Ayton and the Suns also back on the floor. Suns taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not a good outing for the Suns or DeAndre as they go down 102-97. Ayton just 7 points in the ballgame. He did have 14 rebounds. Suns will play again tonight when they take on the Golden State Warriors. And there it is, your check on sports for you this Thursday. Don't forget, check us out tomorrow evening for another edition of The Locker Room, which comes your way as it does every single Friday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Still to come, the chance to win big with the laws of life. That's coming up when our news returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. Breezy conditions move in. Here's Greg back in the weather studio with the details.
Thanks again, Christina. In our second look at weather, we take a look at our satellite view around the area. Very strong cold front now pushing into the central Bahamas with some isolated showers along its boundary. Cold front is rather weakening as it continues towards the south. Very strong winds, gusts up to gale force across the area behind that front will create some hazardous boating and beaching conditions over the next 24 to 36 hours. And then the cold air mass will be moving in tomorrow and into the weekend. Yet another frontal boundary expected to moving in sometime by Monday, so that cold streak will continue for the next several days. Your boating forecast for the northwest, central, and southeast Bahamas. We're asking you boaters to remain in port. Winds very strong, north to northeast, 15 to 25 knots. Seas running 6 to 9 feet over the ocean. High tide will be at 7:39 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Tuesday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everyone. Christina?
Well, students have the chance to win up to $1,000 in cash prizes and tuition assistance through the 13th annual Laws of Life essay competition. Submissions are now open for students grades 5 through 12, as well as university students aged 24 and younger. Students must select one of Sir John Templeton's Laws of Life and submit either an essay or short video explaining how that law is meaningful in their own lives. Education Officer Lucille Wright says the competition is digital this year as a result of the pandemic.
There are also awards for teachers who have the most finalists in the competition and for the school of the winner. So there are prizes for everyone. So that's why we are encouraging you to take advantage of this awesome opportunity. As mentioned, this year we distinguished ourselves even further by being the first competition of its kind in the Bahamas to allow you to enter through an online portal.
Former winner turned coach Janelle Watkins says her time in the competition ignited her love for the English language, and she was proud to be the teacher of last year's winner.
That really got me interested in entering other essay contests, eventually speech contests, debate competitions, and ended up making me come to the conclusion when I was in 12th grade that there's nothing else I'd rather study than English, to kind of put all of these skills and passions together. And so here I am now as an English teacher, actually coaching students, leading them through the process of brainstorming about the topics, writing about the topics.
Well, thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.